Time they're born till 1 is an infant.
Right. So starting from the top, okay, what did we say the first thing that was going to tip us off that something is potentially really wrong and I might need to start CPR? It's going to be their response, right? So they're lying motionless, eyes are closed, it's unexplainable. I'm going to lift the infant out of the crib, out of the bassinet, off the floor, wherever they are. I'm going to cradle them in my arms, okay? And I'm going to start to tap them vigorously on the bottom of the heel. This is what I'm going to try to do to get a response. Not say, hey, are you okay? Not tap them on the collarbones, okay? This is a sensitive area of their body. They haven't started walking around yet. Their heels are not calloused, okay? So this is similar to, again, tapping an adult or a child on the collarbone. If they don't respond to that, I've determined that they're unresponsive, and what am I going to do? I'm going to get them down to a hard surface immediately, okay? Now, you could essentially get them onto a table or a counter or something like that because infants are mobile. I would still recommend getting them down to the floor because unless you're tall enough to still get your shoulders over your hands on that elevated surface, then you're not going to be able to do effective compressions, okay? All right, so now that we know that they're unresponsive, what do we need to do? Dial 911, okay? We put it on speaker, we're talking to the dispatcher. I tell them I have an unresponsive infant. What's the first thing they're gonna ask me? Are they breathing normally? How do I assess that? Look at the chest for chest rise, right? What did we say the rule was? Low and slow or not at all with the chest rise for a child or an infant. That's not normal breathing. That, in addition to them being unresponsive, is going to prompt me to do what? Start CPR, okay? So my position now is going to be at the base of the heels, okay? And I'm going to touch 2 thumbs together in the center of the chest, just below the nipple line, and encircle the torso with my hands. It's called the 2-thumb encircling hands technique, okay? Now, the biggest mistake I see people make when they do infant compressions is they do all thumbs, right? So again, your thumbs are a focal point on the chest for you to redistribute your body weight. You should still have your elbows locked and your shoulders over your thumbs, okay? So it should be something like this, all right? Your rate is still 100 to 120 compressions per minute. How did we simplify that? We say to push fast, and now your depth is about 1.5 inches as opposed to about 2 inches for the child. How did we simplify that? We say to push hard, right? So we're pushing fast and we are pushing hard, all right? How many times are we going to compress?
30.
30, fast and hard. Before we pause, we open up the airway, we deliver 2 rescue breaths. 2 ways we can open up the airway on the infant. We're not going to do that full-on head tilt chin lift because their head is big in proportion to their body, right? So the airway is going to sit differently. And then the diameter of their airway is comparable to a drinking straw. So if I tilt their head all the way back, I'm going to pinch off that straw, okay? So it's going to be much more subtle, a slight lift on the chin until I put them in what is called sniffing position, which is like you're going to go smell a flower or a pot of food. You just slightly tilt your nose up, okay? Another option could be a diaper or a burp cloth, okay? And this would only be applicable if it was within arm's reach, meaning all you had to do is just reach out and grab it. You're not going to go run around looking for one of these objects. But if you have a diaper or burp cloth, you can roll it up lengthwise, and then you can place it running up and down their spine, not going past the base of the neck, and lay them on top of it. And when you do that, it slightly pulls their shoulder blades back and puts them in sniffing position, okay? If you put the object underneath them, you leave it underneath them for the remainder of your CPR, okay? Now to do the breathing, we're not gonna do mouth to mouth because their face is too small for us to pinch off their nose and then encircle the mouth with ours. So instead, we're gonna do what's called mouth to mouth and nose, meaning we're gonna encircle their nose and their mouth with ours, create a tight seal on the face, okay? When I do that, I'm looking at the chest. I deliver 2 consecutive breaths, only to the point of seeing the chest rise. And then within 10 seconds, I should be right back into my next cycle of CPR, right? There are 2 or more people there that are trained to do CPR. One person is the compressor. The other is managing the airway and delivering the breaths. And we're switching roles as soon as the compressor starts to tire, okay? And we're gonna keep this up until somebody shows up to take over, or there's an obvious change, they're alert, and now they're breathing normal. Okay?